This is the Safety Synergy Podcast. I'm Elliot Laratonda. My guest today is Dr. Sarah Eichfeld, along with co-host Paige Laratonda. Dr. Sarah Marie Eichfeld is the Facilities and Safety Coordinator at the Materials Research Institute at Penn State, working within the state-of-the-art Millennium Science Complex. She earned her PhD in Materials Science and Engineering from Penn State in 2009, with a career focused on advanced research in material synthesis, particularly metal organic chemical vapor deposition techniques. Since 2016, Dr. Sarah Eichfeld has applied her technical and safety expertise to oversee MRI's research and core facilities infrastructure, coordinate equipment installation and repair, and lead building-wide initiatives. Safety initiatives, to be exact. She's dedicated to fostering a strong culture of safety within the Millennium Science Complex, ensuring that researchers have the support and training necessary to conduct innovative science in a safe environment. Dr. Eichfeld is passionate about educating the next generation of scientists on the importance of laboratory safety, empowering them with knowledge and best practices to maintain a safe and productive research space. Her unique blend of hands-on research experience and facilities management makes her a valuable resource for laboratory safety and best practices. And that was awesome.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
That lead in, it was perfect. I have a session coming up actually where I want to interview ChatGPT as my guest with like the innovation of AI and how it contributes to safety professionals at universities. So I'm going to like interview the chatbot. So I'm looking forward to that. Cool. I have a bunch of others, by the way, planned. I'm going to do one with Dr. Nathan Smith. I want to do one with lab safety managers and get like a student's perspective.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think people will really enjoy that. I've done the Origin Lab, the Makerspace. I have one later today with the Service Bureau arm of that facility. So we're getting into it. This is the first time, though, in this space. What do you think of the new digs?
That's awesome. Awesome.
Not that it's mine, but Shield's building.
It's really
very
professional.
Nice. So thanks, guys, for doing this. I would like to lead off to say I just would never underestimate the value of what we might describe in Shima and stuff as an embedded safety person. I mean, just the culture that you lead and that we see at MRI, there's such a value. I mean, EHS is EHS. We're not part of the department or the institute or whatever unit that we're talking about. To have that champion, informal or formal, like in your role, is just something that's critical, and I'm a big proponent of that. So I'm so glad to get your perspective. That's why we're here today. Paige helping us out, so thank you so much. Let's first just give an overview of MRI. Talk about the MRI focus of research first. Let's just do that.
So the Materials Research Institute is really allowing for interdisciplinary research to come together from many different departments, colleges across the university. Yep. And it really just fosters kind of this interdisciplinary focus on materials.
Yep, collaboration. From exactly. What, like material science, engineering, I know physics.
Physics.
What other departments is it?
Electrical engineering. Yep. We have some chemical engineering faculty. Yep. We even have a biomedical engineering group.
Yeah, so
really vast.
And there's some people that are like kind of core staple faculty and employees that work kind of exclusively in MRI, but others are dual appointment and use the shared facilities, which we'll talk more about. So what about the facilities that you oversee? So let's highlight some of like the core or user facilities, I call them, and maybe that's not the right.
No, that's exactly it. So Millennium Science Complex is really unique, having two institutes in the building itself. But MRI's side, we really have 4 main user facilities that are part of it. The newest one is it's called SIA, Silicon Carbide Innovation Alliance. Really fantastic group focused on silicon carbide growth, manufacturing, really training next generation workforce. Then we have the 2DCC, which is the Two-Dimensional Crystal Consortium. So that was an NSF funded initiative that has grown, and really anybody can come from all over the United States on campus and learn how to grow and characterize two-dimensional materials. Then we have the Materials Characterization Laboratory, which is really unique lab spaces in the basement of Millennium Science focused on materials characterization. And finally, then we have our nanofabrication facility on the first floor, which, fabrication of devices, nanomaterials, semiconductor focus.
So SCIA, was that your focus, your bread and butter back in school, or am I mixing it up?
No, you're right. Way
Okay,
back
yeah.
when I used to grow silicon carbide.
Yeah, you like that?
I
knew
did.
that
It was one of my
nugget.
favorites.
Yeah. You were supposed to be impressed that I knew that.
I am very impressed. Digging deep into the past.
So that focuses on workplace preparedness, I think you said, and
Yes.
it's kind of mimics, or is really more of like on the production side. So people that might go
Yes.
work in industry have that taste for it, and that's a new facility.
Yes. Yeah.
MCL, so people are bringing the materials that they maybe grew, fabricated, synthesized elsewhere to learn about its properties.
Yeah,
So
they
it's
can
instrument
do-
based.
Yep, exactly. Anybody can use those facilities from on campus, any other faculty. We even have external collaborators and things that come in from outside the university to use the space. So
Right.
it makes it a little bit more complicated.
True. There's challenges there. Anything come to mind? I mean, that's okay. This is maybe a tough question, but like, is there any specific challenges of these variety of shared centers? Just that idea
I mean,
that
it's really important to have the staff working to keep the equipment in good shape so that it's safe to use, and train people so that they can use it safely.
so having like trust it in the realm of safety, right? To tie it back, people that are proponents of and really understand EHS program implications, whatever. Having those people really as partners in the safety world, because they're not just dealing with the nice, neat circle of MRI. They really are dealing with people that are external to the building, at least. And so, anything else? NanoFab we could highlight. What do you think, Paige? What's your experience going into the clean room and what they do in there?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of respect for those folks. There's a lot of high hazards in there they work with. So certainly a lot of attention that gets paid to the NanoFab, which is a good thing. So, but again, another user facility. So you have, students coming in, people from external companies. So there's a lot of collaboration. It's really neat.
Is the NanoFab the primary user of the toxic gas configurations, or there's other groups as
I
well?
would say both the NanoFab and the 2D Crystal Consortium. They're both user facilities, but they both have a lot of toxic gas usage.
What kind of crystals are we making in the 2D crystal group?
2DCC, they focus on the selenides, the sulfides are kind of the two big ones.
And what's the end product or
So they have
industry
some
application?
really unique applications, including for next generation devices and things like that. But trying to learn how to work with them is complex because they're only a single atomic layer, so they're challenging.
Okay. Quantum computing application?
Quantum
perhaps?
computing could definitely be part of all of that too.
Maybe.
Look at you.
I that could have been totally wrong. So that was a.
Would you like to come do some science?
I mean, I
You
love being
should.
around it. I live vicariously through Paige because she works with you right directly in MRI, and I just like.
We have a
Get
lot
to
of
be in
dinner
awe.
conversations about.
She can bring you on.
No,
You should
yeah.
come down too.
Well, I enjoy
We
it.
can get you growing some materials.
That'd be fun. That'd be a good experience.
What types of toxic gases are used in 2DCC?
That's a great question. There's a lot. They do anything from hydrogen selenide, hydrogen sulfide are the two big ones, more toxic
Absolutely.
in nature.
You don't see that every day.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
No, that's unique.
Pretty low exposure limits with those gases and some specific procedures, protections for cylinder changeout. You have TGM, so it's
Correct.
pretty sophisticated gas monitoring and alarm systems involved. We could probably have a session just on that, but let's
we
talk
could.
a little bit more about your role specifically. I mean, I was going to ask to describe your role. I know you did a great job in that bio, but maybe what comes to mind, like a one-liner, or a way that you'd kind of describe what your day-to-day and kind of your role as both facilities and safety director.
It's really a balance. I don't think any day is the same twice, so it makes for, definitely a very unique job. But it's really balancing safety and ensuring that we have, full research uptime.
Right. Well, that alone is interesting because it's kind of like a catchphrase that operations and safety should be entwined. I really am a big one on that. And that's exactly what you get to do. You help the research run, physically, the tools, equipment, and personnel needed, but then you're also integrating safety along the way. So
Exactly.
it's a great
Kinda-
service.
You kind of have to be a good communicator in terms of with the students and the faculty and staff to know that you're there to support them and make sure that they can get their research done.
Yep.
But we have to do it in a safe way.
Yeah, and no doubt, they appreciated your expertise, working in research, but also the experience in safety and facilities management. Like you said in your bio, the perfect combination. You have a team surrounding you. Can you talk about that, like the structure?
I do. They're fantastic. I have a group of 4 other folks, so there's 5 of us total. Everybody plays a different kind of role and specialty. Jake Lyons does a fantastic job. He does a lot of the specialty gas line welding, things like that for the gas systems. Nate Dotz also does a lot of equipment repair, vacuum pump specialty. Bruce Walker down managing shipping, receiving. How do we get the tools safely into place, unloaded? And then Damian Richards also is the last one, and his specialty is really human-machine interfaces.
Oh, okay.
A lot of communication between things. Yeah,
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Electrical stuff too.
Electrical
Yeah.
software kind of guy too.
Correct,
But they're
yeah.
all jacks of all trades, I'm
They
guessing.
are.
I know
They
these
have
guys.
to be.
Yeah. Which, you would need it. You would need that team. I'm thinking about like the physical support that it takes, or whether it's
Exactly.
troubleshooting or fixing, a line or a transfer kind of
that's-
line in the plumbing or the electrical. Yep.
Exactly.
It's actually not a common thing either on campus for a facilities person to have a team of people like that to help out. So, it's not as easy, or it's not ever easy, but they're not as in tune. Our overall Penn State facilities groups aren't as in tune with their units as your group is with MRI.
Yeah,
so
they're
that is
totally
a huge
integrated.
advantage.
Going into lab safety managers, talk about like the importance of that role, kind of what a lab safety manager does, who normally fills it, and then your LSM committee.
Okay, so our lab safety manager group is really kind of the linchpin of safety. They're really what makes the safety culture in Millennium work. It's really a unique role that typically is appointed by a PI of a lab space. So it could be a staff member. In these user facilities, it often is a staff member. All the way down to could be a first-year grad student, depending on the makeup of the research group, who they have. Sometimes they're postdocs as well, not as frequently. But these guys are the boots on the ground. They are the ones in the lab every day. They're working with the chemicals. They're working with the toxic gases. They're doing it all. And so having these eyes and ears in the lab, as long as we give them the training that they need to know what the rules are,
Important.
and how to communicate with their group, the safety that EHS brings to us, is really huge.
Yeah, and so whatever you might call it in your facilities, the listeners might call it, a lab safety officer, a chemical hygiene officer for a specific space or laboratory, lab safety manager. I like that. I like that you guys have adopted that term because it gives them a nice, they're not an officer. They're not there for just compliance. They're empowered to really manage the day-to-day safety.
It also looks really good on a resume or
Exactly.
CV for them. And
Yep.
so that's kind of a nice
Yes.
advantage.
Yep, especially in the industries that those folks are working in, right, where
Correct.
safety is important and they matter in these companies. Like they want that experience, and they also serve probably as, PIs can be busy and a bit all over the place, so they serve as kind of like the main contact for the lab, right, Paige? Those are the individuals that you're going to work with on a routine basis.
Yep.
A lot of the time.
And you all meet monthly. The lab managers do
We
meet
meet
monthly
every
for
other
safety.
month.
I'm sorry, every other
so
month.
bi-monthly, yeah.
And that's the committee that I was referring to there.
Yeah.
So what's the structure of like these meetings like? Is there kind of a routine agenda?
They're not necessarily a set agenda, but it's really to make sure that everybody gets to kind of meet together. It's great that they can kind of talk to each other a little bit.
Yep.
So we serve pizza beforehand a little bit,
Gotta
so they can kind of
incentivize.
chit-chat. The meetings are mandatory, but they're run by 2 lab safety manager leads, which are
Nice.
students, because it's really important that they're being led by their peers, and
Perfect.
we're doing things that they find useful, something that they can either add to their bag of tools of safety experience, or whether it's talking about maybe an incident or a near miss or something that's happened, or maybe new policies that are changing and coming out.
So we were just talking about this yesterday, literally, that too many times in these safety committee meetings that maybe other units, groups, departments, whatever level have, it's usually one representative, an appointed safety officer, facilities person, kind of talking to a group. And every time I'm trying to like advocate for, we need student participation to be leading these conversations.
Exactly.
And is that role appointed or voted upon, or
It's
is just
actually
like,
a volunteer role.
yeah, volunteer? So
Obviously it looks really great to be leading the group of
back to
lab
the
safety
resume
managers,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
But in addition, they actually get a voice on our Materials Research Institute Safety Committee. So they're actually empowering change.
Yeah.
They're empowering where safety should go, what's important to them.
And then you have it from both directions, because something that we won't get into, but we can at least state, is that MRI has great support from top management,
100%.
director level for safety. It's very important. I see it for sure. But then you also have the grassroots of students making an example to others that this is important. And look, you get recognized, and since there's some perks to it, and you have it from both directions, which is just, again,
really important, that grassroots effort that you said.
Transitioning, hopefully you got a good context now for MRI, some of the kind of fundamental initiatives and structure and Sarah's role there. MRI and EHS. So we have our EHS representative that, like I said, works with MRI directly. Paige, and what do you think? How could you kind of give an overview or describe what routine EHS services you provide, just on the most informal? How would you characterize like your interactions with Sarah MRI at MSC?
Yeah, so we definitely do routine inspections or visits or consultations, whatever we want to call them. So that happens annually, routinely. Also, if needed, incident response or investigation. Hopefully, not too often we need to do that. But just, Sarah does a great job at involving me, engaging me with people.
We ask her a lot of questions.
It's a two-way street. Yeah,
yep, absolutely.
A big customer there, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely routine inspections. Always just trying to be engaged and pop in when I can. Yeah. And also just shadowing people, seeing what they do and learning about what they do.
And I'd be interested, Sarah, in your feedback. So Paige characterized these visits as consultations. That's my favorite word for it. Because yes, we're going to look at physical space, and we know that as an inspection, but it's really an opportunity to like touch point, sync, and engage with LSMs or PIs or folks like you in the institute or whoever we're serving. And it provides like a foundation and structure for then there to be like deeper interaction. Like we might go and we might physically inspect and we might look at some paperwork, but we're there to see what services they need. And then it leads to, oh, what do you think about this? Or let's go check that out. And it is like the means by which we provide a more deeper, meaningful service, I see.
100%. Yeah. It's a face. So then everybody feels comfortable when they do have a question. Yep. They know where to go to ask.
Yep. And serving as like a single point of contact, because it is tough, serving in like kind of your shoes as an embedded person for a research institute in a prior job, it's critical to have a kind of a single point of contact. You don't want to have to remember like, oh, for this topic, I reach out to this person, or for this person, but sometimes an exception.
It's such a large university. It's really hard to try to remember.
Single point of contact, and then it becomes a single point of accountability to actually get your answers back, right? And so, and I can take one, EHS interaction. So because the LSMs have a vested interest in safety, we've done, I think, a couple now at this point, or one or two, or more to come at least. OSHA 10 hours as we have the 10 and 30-hour program that I can teach because of my authorization. Students really seem to enjoy that. It's a nice, approachable way to get that OSHA card instead of the 30-hour through taking the whole class and everything. So there's been some positive feedback there. It does give students that credential, that OSHA card, to then put on their resume, another thing to add and build, that they have a foundation of OSHA programs. And of course, I'll customize that to, if we have a lot of people going into maybe semiconductor research or whether it's R&D or manufacturing, we can talk about more topics in that area. So that's a good example too. The other one, Paige, I might point this one for you. I know Sarah mentioned an idea, and it's all concepts, and we're just kind of talking about ideas here of, how can we recognize labs and groups that do a really good job, right? And then maybe incentivize other people that could improve their performance. And you, again, me living vicariously through you guys had a conversation about this like recognition kind of program or idea where people or lab groups are scored based on different categories, whether it's lab consultations and number of findings, maybe housekeeping conditions. a couple others that maybe you guys could remind me about some thoughts. But then you could imagine there's a rubric, right? These different categories, they're scored 1 through 5 or whatever. And then you do some simple math and they get like, the gold star or the silver or bronze or platinum or whatever. Anything to add? Can you remember any other categories, either of you?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely an MRI initiative.
For sure,
so I'll
it
let
is
Sarah
clear.
speak to it. But yeah, it was just something you were bouncing ideas off of each other and just to figure out a way that we can really recognize the star safety pupils in MRI because they deserve it and they work hard and it's
So this
tough work.
started a couple years ago. Even before I was in this position, they would take I think it was the annual self-inspection and break that up. And depending on how they did during the EHS safety inspection, then they would be given stars. And they would be given an opportunity to earn those stars back if they lost them.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it was a great way to teach like the lab safety managers, and I was a lab safety manager at the time, about the self-inspection and how it was doing and things like that.
Gamified it a bit to hold them accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. Any other categories of this like rubric that come to mind? We had findings, we had housekeeping.
Like training or
like
documentation.
self-led. Yeah, documentation was one.
Yeah.
Like self-led assessments or like routine like safety talks. Like, in industry we might call it toolbox talks, but here we might call them something else of like just like routine opportunity that they are like leading a conversation of safety with their lab group. That'd be another just spitballing
That's a good
ideas
idea.
here. But yeah, in all of these, by the way, just to put out some other words for our safety professional listeners would be, making all of these based on leading indicators of safety and, something not necessarily like incidents or whatever. We don't ever want to incentivize or reward based on reporting. There's trouble there, but leading indicators of safety to motivate people to do the right thing proactively. So I think that's a brilliant concept. It takes some, safety management system concepts and kind of makes it a fun kind of game or competition, which I think is always good, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, so we're going to bring it back, and we'd really like to work with you guys in EHS on it so that we can kind of get the right indicators or stars.
Perfect. Back to LSM initiatives, the LSM committee. Another kind of activity through that group is Labs from a Hat. We got to participate. I mean, I'm sure Paige is multiple, but I got to participate in at least one about energy control procedures. So yeah, tell us about the idea. What is Labs in a Hat?
So Labs out of a Hat was meant to really kind of keep our lab folks kind of on their toes, ready to go, keep their labs kind of in good shape, and not just be looking or waiting for, everybody knows that in MRI, EHS lab inspections happen in the spring. So it was really meant to kind of keep everybody going, but also a way to train our new lab safety managers on how to look at labs and then get our more experienced ones in different labs. So basically every lab safety meeting, we pick 5 random labs out of a hat and just kind of go send everybody in a group. Everybody gets a lab, one of those 5 to go inspect. We tend to try to pair them up with either Paige or myself or kind of another staff member that has some experience to kind of lead them.
Yeah.
But we want to know what could be done better, but to try to spin it as more of a positive too. What are they doing that's good?
Right. Exactly.
Because that's kind of important because you all kind of want to take those good things and try to apply them to your lab anyway.
Yeah. It's honestly something I wouldn't have brought up, and I'm so glad that you did, is it's not just about like a peer check or anything, but it's also like sharing like the positive notes of, they can benchmark against their peers to say like they're actually doing, storing these materials in this way. Maybe we should reorganize our thing and take that back to our lab. So the lessons learned there. That's a great practice.
We're an educational institution, and I think sometimes people forget that, but we're here to try to teach these guys.
Exactly.
I love everything about Labs out of a Hat.
I know.
I think it's great. I tell him this all the time, but yeah, I just think it's so common that people only see the same 4 walls of their lab, so it's just great to get out there and see, I could be doing it this way, and this is safer, and this is why, or vice versa. So it's fantastic, and it's about collaboration. That's what it's all about. So.
It's really good that you can go on these with the students too, because they get some direct interaction, so they can kind of learn what you're looking for too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they don't always see the same stuff, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so another MRI initiative, and I know think through the LSM committee is the laser safety driver's license concept. So can you describe what this is? How does someone earn their license, quote unquote?
Yeah, so this started when we have some laser safety labs, but they're very tight, they're very busy, there's a lot going on. And so this kind of started as a way for students to actually, in addition to taking their laser safety fundamentals, which is only required once,
Right.
Is to actually do something hands-on where they actually
Exactly.
play with a visible beam,
Okay.
like a laser
Yeah,
pointer,
low power
almost
thing,
very low
practicing
power.
alignment.
Exactly. Practice alignment and actually be able to change the height of the laser
Nice.
safely.
Yep.
So that they can kind of learn how to actually work
Yeah.
with.
Maybe when to wear eye protection, for
exactly.
example, and
So it's a very small test. It's hands-on, and it's given by the lab safety manager for the laser labs before they can start using their lasers.
so they're verifying that they receive their fundamental online training, that they then express some skill through these hands-on
Exactly.
kind of verifications, and then they earn. Do you give them like a card or
We
something?
give
or
them a
something?
certificate
Yeah.
so that they have it and they can track it. And that way, then we know that they've played in the sandbox is what we call it.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. And you, in your previous point, you mentioned about like we're an educational institute, right? So like I think that is kind of like a critical card to take from that deck and apply elsewhere. It's like how can we make this like a very controlled, learned experience? And we can do that for safety. Can you think of anything else, Paige? There's obviously a variety of topics. Sorry to put you on the spot or anything, but can you think of anything, other applications where you have a similar, just like to be a qualified, forklift operator, right? You get a certification, a hands-on skills test, you get a card. And here we see this with the laser safety. So any other examples of types of work where this could be applied?
Yeah, keeping it with MRI, I know we talked about electrical safety, maybe potentially a sandbox there for them to play in for electrical safety. So, Sarah, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the electrical safety subcommittee that you guys have initiated.
Yeah, so we pulled together an electrical safety subcommittee, which both of you guys are part of, which we really appreciate, and a few of our staff members that are electrical safety experts as well. They work in the electrical characterization lab, so they have a lot of experience with all kinds of electrical, how to take measurements, things like that. And so we're trying to build right now like a sandbox for electrical safety for students that maybe have to do or build some sort of electrical test setup in their lab, but maybe don't have the experience.
Exactly, because one thing we don't want to do is kid ourselves and pretend like this stuff isn't happening in these labs. So we might as well give them a place.
Or kid
do
ourselves
it
that
safely.
it's straightforward, right? It's like really complex to like understand. Not everyone's an electrician, but they're gonna figure out stuff and like they have to put together and assemble things. Again, another standalone topic probably that we could talk for an hour is just about electrical safety and lab-made equipment and all that. So let's transition to the Safety Olympics. Awesome event that just concluded,
So
and
much fun.
people are going to love this idea. And honestly, another successful year in the books. So just tell us about it. Maybe like the inception of the idea, the history of the event, the general format, or please.
So the Safety Olympics was something that was born out of the Materials Research Institute's safety committee, looking for fun ways to engage folks in safety. Make it something fun where people, once again, go back to this educational concept, right? Where we're learning, but also throw some competition into it. Dr. Joshua Robinson was kind of the main faculty lead back then and has really kind of helped grow this thing since, I think it was 2013 or 2014. So we're over 10 years now.
You had your decade extravaganza then last year.
We did, yeah.
Wow.
So really exciting event where, basically we have teams come compete with safety games.
From all over that has
from all
grown,
over,
right?
yeah.
I'm sure at first it was MRI teams, a
For the
few
most
teams.
part,
And then now, how many teams this year?
Now we cut it off.
You're going to have to cap it.
We cap it usually, but this year we had one of our highest attendance levels at 22 teams is what we had. So.
And teams of like, anywhere between like 3-6 people kind of thing. Okay.
Yep.
And you have industry sponsors, right? Because it takes
We
some
do.
time and money and resources to put this stuff together. Hosted in MSC in your
Huge
building there.
industry sponsors,
Any shout outs there?
Yeah,
or what?
major
It's up to you.
shout out to both Corning
Yeah.
and PPG. both each created a trophy for the
That's
event. Way back when, Corning has this beautiful glass-blown lion trophy
Of course, yeah.
that we give the winning team. They
Yeah.
get to keep for a year with their names engraved on it.
Gotcha.
And then we also have a departmental safety trophy. So if you can have at least 3 teams competing from your department, you can go for the department safety trophy.
Yep. And so, and we'll get into the games and stuff, but, you know, there's some science behind it, right? I know we're keeping track of score of their performance, each team's performance in each game or station. It's tabulated at the end. You win these handsome prizes.
Yes.
We also had a speaker. You mentioned Corning, our speaker this year. Your speaker at Safety Olympics was from Corning.
Yes,
What'd
Ben
you
Hall,
think?
he was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I thought so too.
I really enjoyed. What'd you think, Paige?
I agree 100%. It was really informative and, it was everybody's attention. He had everybody's attention.
I
It was
wasn't
great.
sure you could talk for 45 minutes on HF safety. And
think
I
you
learned
did a
something
double.
new.
Yeah, it was a really thorough, combination of, the safety, the fundamentals, and
He
working with
brought
it.
in the
But like,
science behind
it was
too.
way deeper than I really ever imagined of the science, and not only the chemistry, right? That's obvious, but like the biology,
The biology.
and how
That
your
was
body processes
really
it,
unique,
and
right?
interrupts calcium ions
With
and all
his
that.
emergency response
That's the other thing, yeah.
experience, that really helped to
Oh
kinda
yeah,
see how it
he's
works
definitely
on
on
the
their
other side.
emergency response team. Awesome.
And the unique combination of Ben's as an engineer in operations relating to that audience and the science background, but also as a EMT and hazmat like technician captain of their squad there, which is, he was a wealth of knowledge. I really enjoyed speaking with him. HF safety, again, if we glossed over it, was the topic. And so great job there. So obviously the main draw, in my opinion, is the games and the competition, thus, the Safety Olympics. So what are the games? Can you think of them off the top
sometimes
of
we
your head?
rotate through, but we're always trying to modify and keep it fresh. But one that's been a constant every year is speed gowning. Which is just kind of fun. Maybe there's not as much educational component to it, but how fast can you gown up in proper clean room attire following the right steps? And if you don't, you lose points if you make a mistake. I think we've had gowners gown up in less than a minute, which is pretty fast. We also have Safety Pictionary this year. So it's Pictionary, except you're guessing safety-themed words.
Sure.
VWR, who is also one of our sponsors, always hosts a Price is Right like competition, so you can guess like the laboratory safety and PPE kind of prices of things.
PPE consumables, things that people, if they choose the right member of the team, is it a team effort there, or do they select an individual?
I believe it's a team effort.
Yeah, and then they could have someone on their team, hopefully, that's like buys their lab equipment, and they might know it really well, versus other people are like, oh, shoot, we didn't have that expertise, and they don't do
Exactly.
so well.
MCL won this year, and I think, they must be buying a lot of lab consumables.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes total sense.
What else? We also have had, so we always do a trivia, which is a really, that's probably one of the highest weighted games, right? Because there's a lot of learning that they're going in. And then we have, I'm trying to think here, sustainability. So sustainability has become part of it because sustainability is kind of tied there with safety. And so they do lab waste sorting, try to figure out where to put things, right? Because that's always something that...
Whether they should process it as haz waste versus recycling versus universal waste versus other categories.
Right, which gets really complicated in the laboratories, as Paige knows.
Sure. And I know Paige and we kind of assist with the committee, although, Paige, of course, carrying the weight, and she really does enjoy it.
Biggest game,
actually. And we'll talk about that next, the game that Paige hosted there. But also helps kind of advise other groups, like for the sustainability game and waste classification and others, the trivia for sure. I know she's contributed. Well, everyone, it's a joint effort there with the committee. So, Paige, tell us about the escape room, right? Which is the best game, the funnest game.
Favorite game.
Aw, man. Gonna make me blush. So it's an escape room, enough said. It's pretty, hopefully at this point, self-explanatory, but the idea is EHS comes up with a prompt to have teams try to escape, quote unquote, a room or area to, help them learn more about safety or, incorporate what they know about safety. So this year it was just a variety of different objects in the room. They had to identify hazards, and then based on those hazards, they got clues, and then they had to, get lock codes, and there was UV flashlights involved and secret hidden codes, and it kind of all stemmed from identifying safety hazards with common lab items. So that was the idea. And
what, 3 minutes to do it, right? Or they don't escape.
It's quick. Yeah. Yep. Small space there because all the teams and we only have so much time. We got to get everyone through.
Right.
But yeah, you had a space and a variety of items laying out both on the wall and on the table, and you gave them a simple prompt of identifying hazards is your key to escape. And they examined all the items. They found a different prompt that allowed them to add up some numbers on these cards associated with these hazards or items. That gave them the UV flashlight. If they inspected their area some more, they revealed a code that was on some lab signage, and that code allowed them to exit the room. So really fun.
It's a lot of fun.
People enjoyed it. We got some really good feedback there.
That has quickly become one of the big game hits.
Hopefully, it can continue to grow. I know last year the theme was escaping from EHS jail, so that was kind of an interesting take.
Think of some new corny one for the next time, but. You definitely grow. I mean, all of it, of course, could grow. I mean, it's already a fantastic event. We couldn't say enough about it. Again, another topic that we could spend an hour for alone.
Well, it's just really cool because now it's grown to the point where we have College of Engineering teams. We have physics, chemistry, chemical engineering. MATSE, of course, is always a big group. MRI has a couple of teams. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it's not what I might call like fake fun, where people are like kind of obligated to show up. They are cheering. They have shirts on, custom made
we
shirts.
Actually give out an award for most spirited team.
Yes, that I forgot. Of course.
Thanks to all of our company sponsors, we were able to give them gift cards
and
sometimes some swag. And so the prizes are actually really great.
Really good. Yeah.
You get gift cards to go spend money downtown in State College, which is awesome.
I mean, there's lots of things. I'm so confident that, if there's other safety professionals or embedded folks in facilities, folks like yourself at different universities listening, they're going to find so much of what we talked about helpful. They could take any of these pages out of your playbook that we talked about today, implement it in their space or take their own spin on it.
We'd be happy to share, too, if anybody's ever interested.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We covered what do you win, right? We talked about the trophies and stuff as a whole department. Spirited team, the winning squad, of course, some other gift cards and giveaways. You'll never have a shortage of participants.
Lots of prizes, which is actually a big part of it too.
Okay, so anything else? Open opportunity.
I was going to say, so since today is September 30th, you guys do Safety September. So
we do Safety September.
I know that's a huge initiative.
September.
Yeah, so. I guess, do you want to speak to that a little bit? What does that consist of exactly?
That's great. We have an initiative in September where safety is really a big focus for our lab safety managers. In September, everybody updates all of their safety paperwork together at the same time, including their safety trainings and things like that. So everybody's on the same schedule. It really helps make life easier on our lab managers and our lab safety managers, and we really dedicate time to helping them do that too.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I know your EHS rep appreciates that because everyone's synced. It's not like people are updating, certain things at this time of year. Other people, it's all synced across and standardized.
It is.
Because this comes from MRI. This is not an EHS requirement or anything like that to have everybody in sync or do anything to that point. So I really appreciate it. I see the effort that gets put in every year to this. People respect
Everybody's scrambling today, right now, getting all their paperwork
This is the last day of recording
It's the last day.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But they do a great job. They really do care about trying to get it done, and it's nice that they can do it together. Paige always comes to our lab safety meeting and really kind of helps set them up for the paperwork of the year. This year, a lot of it's becoming more digital, so everybody's really thankful for that.
Yeah, we have the line safe risk assessment, which I'm sure is the common
People
theme
are
in some
really
of these
liking
conversations.
that actually so far.
Major
too.
improvement, no doubt.
It's been good.
And of course, Safety September, not just about updating documents, but thus the Safety Olympics. It's about like an opportunity to put safety at the forefront of people's minds. It's a culture thing. It's Safety September. It has a nice alliteration to it, which I appreciate. Is it also a focus on like maintenance at that time, or is that a different part of the year maybe?
It's actually right before September, but
Gotcha.
we have a big focus on, we have what's called Maintenance Week in August.
Okay, gotcha.
Right before Safety September,
Yeah.
but really that's kind of a time where the research kind of pauses for a week and everybody maintains PMs, kind of, tries to get everything ready for the year.
Well, that's relevant to this conversation too. I mean, because, part of this is about, facilities management, and just that's maybe something I guess you would recommend to others, is just like having that dedicated, as being on the research side, if you can know and anticipate when some of these overhauls and shutdowns are going to happen, you can work around it versus like if it's any random time of the year.
If you can plan it in and you know when things are going to have to shut down because everything's going to be PM'd, from a safety standpoint, you can catch a lot of things. Everything gets inspected. There's a dedicated time. Whereas sometimes in research, you're so busy and so focused that sometimes it slips through.
Yeah, and so and that's the other thing, is the fact that you have these like PMs planned out, right? You're not waiting for something to break.
Right.
It's preventative, which has a strong flavor of safety to that, of course. And is the maintenance week also for the individual labs that might service some of their own stuff? It's not just your folks going,
100%. It's the whole building.
Yeah. And external, like maybe bring in people to work on
external contractors come in. And it's really a time that they know, okay, we got to get everything PM'd, this is when everything's down, so you can't run anyway.
Yep.
So it's a great time to allow them to focus and kind of get up to speed.
Yeah, I was going to say, this time of year is just like a good reset for everybody as far as facilities and
that
safety.
leads right into Safety September. So.
Yep.
And this is a joke. This is your time to relax, right?
I wish.
Yeah, maybe the opposite, right?
Right, exactly.
Anything else? I mean, this is a great conversation. Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that, all this stuff we talked about is fantastic. You make it look so easy, but we know the effort that you put in on a daily basis. This is not just something that,
it's really
snap your
about
fingers.
The students. Honestly, they know you, so they feel comfortable reaching out, which is huge.
Yeah.
And, we're here to help them. So
it's a team effort.
Works, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That was a common thread throughout, like putting education and student experience first and everything. We talked about through the grassroots kind of approach with the LSM role and everything. And that was just something I wanted to identify as like, very well appreciated. It contributes to safety culture. It's very obvious. And now end it with the way that I started it. We can't say enough about the value of a champion of safety. Again, whether it's folks that might be listening that have more informal roles of it, or someone like yourself that has a more formal role allocated and dedicated to safety, facilities management. Both of those overlap. But it's critical, and you do a great job. Thanks. So many people listening could really learn a lot and apply these practices and everything. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I hope it was fun for everybody. Thank you, Paige,
Absolutely.
Sarah.
Awesome space.
Yeah, that's it. So I hope you appreciate it. Oh, one thing I wanted to call attention to. How do you like that?
I love it.
Icon.
It's awesome.
Guess who made that?
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It does it all.
Cool. Thank you. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.